The Witcher Blood Origin has been a hot topic among fans ever since it came out. The 4-episode prequel strayed further away from the books, showing that the series isn't interested in winning back hardcore fans. Why?
I speak the truth.
Because they clearly sidelined what we've known about the continent and its past. The second season of The Witcher deviated much further from the source material than the first. It used a free hand with the established Witcher narrative, reimagined characters, killed off one, and introduced entirely new concepts. The most obvious example would be the idea that Ciri's blood could be used to create new Witchers, which, to put it bluntly, stirred up some controversy. The show's butchering of the source material has inspired vocal supporters of the books to stalk every debate on the show on the internet, and the prequel series Blood Origin failed to win them over. It similarly smashed the previously accepted canon, alerting our understanding of the continent's past and the origins of Witchers, just to name a few. Now, I'm not saying the show is terrible, but Blood Origin seems like an unabashed homage to the Seven Samurai and other tales of unlikely warriors banding together for a deadly quest.
Ursine.
With a few winks and a nod to the audience, the show lets the audience know it's aware it's playing a well-known melody. In the first scene, Jaskier the Bard sighs as he is told the story of a group of warriors who band together to take on impossible odds. The Bard, nonchalantly, says that this topic has been done to death at this point. That wasn't the only instance, though.
I'm just a man with an admittedly fun hat. We're not the same. You're more.
I slip between worlds and times, collecting forgotten stories.
Within the story, the villainous Sage Baylor also calls the banding of these warriors a legend just waiting to happen. It's clear that the creators knew what they were doing, and winning over fans wasn't their quest. Maybe the fans have overreacted to the series' path. There have been such cases in the past. Unfortunately, though, the show itself isn't all that good. Initially, the characters seemed interesting, like Meldoff, a dwarf who has a talking hammer, Gwen, and Brother Death, an elven badass with a mohawk. There's Michelle Yeoh, who brings life to some dull lines and shines in the fight sequences. Beyond the 7 warriors, there's Dylan Moran, who's having a blast in his role as the mercenary leader, Uthrak One Nut. Don't worry, Uthrak, we all know it's just a name and not a description.
Ancient dwarven monolith. He used it to open up a gateway to another world.
Anyway, all of them had interesting characters and pasts, but the story's potential was wasted on 2 boring protagonists who waste a lot of time with scenes like the predictable refusals of the call. Not only that, the elves don't even seem like elves either. The elven culture, their villages and settlements, and their beards all look exactly like the humans. It was like seeing the present continent, which is set more than 1,000 years later, but with elves replacing humans. The monsters, it didn't seem that solid either, and even the great Lenny Henry couldn't make a bad guy whose only motivation is jealousy interesting. So yeah, the show's mid.
I saw you.
They always had to die.
4 episodes of basic fantasy action with some swearing and flashes of Jaskier to remind you it's The Witcher, but nothing can be mid on the internet, especially not The Witcher, and the departure of the face of the franchise, and the fans are just as interested in the show as Geralt was when Calanth asked him to slay the Cursed Knight. And wait till you hear this. Fans have already shared their disinterest with a mingled story. Cavill's departure from the show has already attained legendary status in itself. Legend has it that the noble ascended fan did his best to defend the original text, but the evil Netflix authors mangled it because they secretly despised the books and eventually drove him away. This interpretation is based on several assumptions, such as the fact that Cavill's comments about wanting to bring a more book-accurate Geralt to the screen are completely true. Blood Origin is even more carefree and fast-paced than the main series when it comes to the legend. It was long believed that human wizards were the ones who created the Witchers to fight monsters, but Blood Origin changed the story, and according to this new lore, elves were the ones who created the first prototype version of The Witcher. I don't know what's what anymore, but at least I'm not alone. For its sins, Blood Origin has received a 13% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, 13, which is worse than the user rating of the Resident Evil series on Netflix. Netflix Witcher's subreddit was intended to be a, quote, respectful, inclusive venue for discussing the show away from the toxicity of other Witcher forums. Even they had to split off another more strictly moderated, drama-free subreddit because of all the negativity surrounding Blood Origin. But wait till you hear the worst part of all this. Let's talk about how Blood Origin connects itself to the main series. The show ended with the conjunction of the spheres, an event that transformed the world into what we know from the main series. Monsters from various worlds and planes of existence were cast off to the continent, and so was humankind. The humans promptly crashed their ships onto the African coast, kicking off yet another interracial war that would last for 1,000 years. Even more remarkable was the fact that elves were found all over the galaxy. One of these elves, Eredin, claimed a familiar mask in the climax of The Witcher Blood Origin, suggesting that they may have been the original members of the Wild Hunt. But what's more interesting is the post-credit scene. Blood Origin featured a post-credit scene that took place before the fall of Cintra in The Witcher Season 1. Ciri is out playing in the streets with her pals, and the camera pans out to reveal that the adult onlooker, Avallac'h, is watching them. He's monitoring her too soon, and has probably opted not to intervene since Ciri is still uninformed of the prophecy that will define her life. You might assume that he was sent to the present day because of the conjunction of spheres, but that might not be the case. In Blood Origin and the original novels, Avallac'h gains the limited ability to travel through worlds and time. It's most likely that he arrived in Cintra a little too early, checked up on Ciri, and then departed for the future, so the two will eventually meet in The Witcher Season 3. Another thing that Blood Origin did was make Ciri's arc easier, and, well, Netflix took their usual unorthodox approach to spin-offs. Blood Origin is more than just a prologue, it's a vital piece of the larger story, setting the stage with concepts and, more importantly, characters that will play pivotal roles in future games. Because of their knowledge of the actual power of Ciri's elder blood and their desire to utilize it for their own ends, Eredin and Avallac'h are destined to play a role in Ciri's ongoing saga. Due to the prequel series, fans will have a leg up on Geralt and Ciri in deducing the motivations of the supporting characters. For Ciri to figure out who she's up against, she'll need to listen to the bard's songs. This was hinted at in the final moments of The Witcher Blood Origin with a performance of the Song of the Seven, confirming that the ancient tale of the Witcherverse and the origin of Witchers has been rekindled in anticipation of Season 3.
Song of the Seven, Sandpiper.
The Witcher Season 3 is set to release in summer this year, so clean the dust from your swords and grab some coin, as this will be the last time we'd see Cavill play Geralt. That's all for The Witcher in its spin-off Blood Origin.
The last of us, thanks to your father, have killed you by now.
Wait.
See you in the next video.